All right, those were your summaries tonight. Let's move on to tonight's story. Some cooperative credit unions in the country are said to have been hit by the recent microfinance sector cleanup. About a week ago, the Bank of Ghana revoked licenses of almost 400 microfinance institutions for non-compliance to regulations. General Manager of the Ghana Cooperative Credit Unions Association, Emmanuel Kofi, spoke at a press conference to sensitize the public on misconceptions about credit unions due to the revocation of licenses of some microfinance institutions.
The Bank of Ghana has not revoked the license of any credit union in Ghana in its bid to sanitize the microfinance sector. Credit unions remain one of the safest, sound, and viable financial institutions that are preparing the financial inclusion agenda spelled out in the goal, one of the sustainable development goals, that is eradicating poverty by the year 2030. KUA, by this press conference, seeks to clarify and demystify the misconception that has led to panic withdrawals in some credit unions across the country. I wish to state emphatically that no credit union has been declared insolvent or its license revoked in the latest move by Bank of Ghana to sanitize the microfinance ecosystem. Credit unions have existed in Ghana for over 60 years, promoting economic development among members, and as a member-owned institutions, we remain consistent, solvent, and viable. KUA is assuring all credit union members in Ghana that our offices are open for business. We're going to have stakeholders conference or meetings at the regional or chapters, where we're going to meet our credit unions at the chapters and discuss the way we do our business, the way we recruit members into our credit unions, the way we inform public properly, so that we distinguish ourselves from other financial institutions. Currently, the credit unions and other financial institutions, especially microfinance, we are treated the same, and we are not the same. We are distinct financial cooperative credit union.
Well, let's get a bit more on this. Joining me in studio is the man you just saw on your screen, Emmanuel Kofi, General Manager, Ghana Cooperative Credit Unions Association, and John Wutu, Supervisory Manager, Financial Services, to just make us understand what is happening. We'll get into the impact of what is happening in the microfinance sector on your operations. First, though, just a bit of an education of what a credit union is and how different credit unions are for microfinance companies.
Thank you very much. As I did indicate in our press conference, credit union is a member-owned financial cooperative credit institution that is controlled, supervised, and managed by its own members. So if you don't belong to a credit union, you don't benefit from the activities of the credit union. So the credit union is for the members. As soon as you buy a share, you become a part owner of the credit union. Therefore, anything concerning credit union, since you have bought the required share, then you are owner and you participate in everything that credit union does. If you are not a member of the credit union, you don't take part in any of the activities. And
who regulates your operations?
Yes, credit union comes under the Department of Cooperatives. Yes, so the Department of Cooperatives is our regulator. However, because we do a bit of finance, we take deposits from public or from members. Then we have our legislative instruments, which was just passed last 3 years, 2015, LI 2225, 2015, by Parliament, where Bank of Ghana is supposed to regulate a section of our activities, especially the deposit-taking aspect of our business.
All right, so you say that your operations are being affected by the recent microfinance sector cleanup. Johnson, tell me how exactly you've been impacted.
The announcement by the Bank of Ghana revoking the license of some of the microfinance institutions. You know, we are also part of the microfinance institution, but under a special dispensation. That's what the general manager just said. With regards to the LI, we fall under the LI, and with complement of the decree, the 252 cooperative decree. Now, the announcement came, and the misconception in the public is that since credit union also operates under the microfinance sector, there's that indication that credit unions are part of it. And for that matter, people are rushing onto the facility of credit unions to withdraw their savings.
Just how serious is it? What are your members telling you when it comes to panic withdrawals? I mean,
we've had 2 or 3 credit unions indicating to us at the head office that members are rushing onto their facility to withdraw. Specifically, Ebenezer Cooperative Credit Union in the Techiman area, and also West Coast in the Western region, that's Takrady. We needed to take up this responsibility by coming out with this press release and this interview just to clear the air that credit unions are sound, viable, and they are ready and continue to do their usual business.
And you guys should admit is a very challenging time in the financial sector at this point. Everybody's concerned about where they put their money. So what kind of assurance can you give to your clients to assure them that their monies are safe with you?
Yeah, thank you very much. The assurance is that the credit union is being well supervised by KUA, which is a mother body. Therefore, we have products and services that give backing to the credit unions. We have what we call a deposit guarantee system, where it works in this way, that if a credit union is in financial challenges, then quickly we need to go in to support that credit union with that deposit guarantee. Therefore, no member who is working with the credit union will have his money, will not have his money back in case of any trouble because of that deposit guarantee. Again, we also have central finance facility that is also contributed by the credit unions. So when there's any financial challenge with a particular credit union, then we go in with this sort of facilities to restore the situation. So we have some packages that support the work of the credit unions. So there's no way if you're a member of a credit union and you stay with the credit union, and the credit union is credible and is admitted by KUA, your money will go with.
Okay, and just a final one, because you're running out of time on this one. So is that where the central bank can help you, you know, sort of boost the confidence of your clients? Have you discussed this with them?
Yes, we are into several discussions with them, but with this recent announcement, we have not got in touch with them. We've written a letter to them, to Bank of Ghana, that we're going to have an engagement with them and see how they can also help to safeguard the situation as far as the credit unions are concerned. So probably next week, we're going to have engagement with them, then we'll be giving some assurance or some directive as far as credit unions activities are concerned. Because if you don't do that, then at the end of the day, all the financial sector is not going to be the best place for all of us.
Rightly said, because this cleanup is supposed to make our financial sector strong and not, you know, sort of make others crumble. Thanks very much for your time, Emmanuel Kofi. You are the General Manager of the Ghana Cooperative Credit Unions Association, and Johnson Wotu, you are in charge of financial services. Thanks very much for your time tonight, guys. All right, we want to move on to the microfinance sector, because Director of Yexin Microfinance, Yexin Emmanuel Kubelenu, says his company is still awaiting scrutiny of your books by the receiver. The the Bank of Ghana recently revoked licenses of some microfinance institutions for various reasons, including deposit taking. However, speaking on the business edition of PM Express on JoyNews, Yeksin Emmanuel Kublenu, whose company has been affected by the shutdown, says his is not a deposit-taking one and will wait for the receiver to go through the books of his company again.
Any letter from the BOG stating categorically that my license is revoked. And we believe that we are on course. For the fact that we did not meet a minimum capital of 2 million Ghana cedis, we don't have any liability that to push us out of the business at all. We are still strong. The least we have, we manage it. And very unfortunately, on the 31st of May, our name popped up. I can remember that on the 24th of April, examiners came to my institutions and to conduct the on-site examination. So when they came, they conducted the examination. In the process, there's some unupdated issues with the system. So they told us they can go and later we can also rectify it. And on the 20th of May, a report was ready to us. And then when a report was given to us, among many other things, it was addressed that one, we shouldn't take a deposit.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we do not engage in deposit taking. And then the final one was that we should address certain issues before 31st of July 2000.
What are some of these issues, Jackson? If you say address issues, what are some of these issues the regulator asked you to address?
They mentioned that we should address issue concerning the liquidity.
Okay.
That is one. Meanwhile, we claim that, well, we don't take a deposit and to be under pressure to pay anybody.
Okay. Meanwhile, financial expert Nkunimdini Asante believes the Bank of Ghana acted based on companies that flouted regulations of microfinance and other non-banking institutions.
If you read the business rules and sanctions for MFIs, Rule 35 sub 6 specifically, it indicates that for Tier 2 and Tier 3, which has a deposit taking Tier 2 and Tier 3, they are non-deposit taking but take investments from the public, that if you're unable to meet both the primary reserve ratio, which is 10%, the secondary reserve ratio, which is 20%, and in some cases, special reserve ratio, which is 10%, aggregate of 40%, if you're unable to meet all of these reserve requirements, BOG will prescribe penalty for you. And in addition to the penalty, they'll provide these directives. Don't open additional branches, don't collect any more deposits, and so on and so forth. So I am conjecturing that perhaps BOG found a basis for concluding that maybe there were some violations of liquidity reserve requirement. In his case, I don't know that for a fact. As I indicated, the difficulty we have in all of these is that there's paucity of information from the regulator in terms of specifics, as we had at the banking level. Over time, I'm sure will come. Until we have that, we can only use.
Well, still in the financial sector, another story we're killing fully for you. The Bank of Ghana is assuring the public that Barclays Bank Ghana is in good standing despite the recent regulatory action taken against it. The regulator in a statement also maintained that the bank is solvent and liquid. George Affe has more.
The official notice from the Bank of Ghana was, however, silent on whether the 4.6 million Ghana cedi fine still stands and whether Barclays has taken steps to pay the said fine, but only to say that the misconduct which Bank of Ghana claimed Barclays has misled the public with questionable quotes have been resolved after some engagement with officials of Barclays. It is, however, not clear for now what might have informed the statement from the regulator. Following the announcement this week, we picked up some WhatsApp messages circulating in the public. We sought to suggest that the bank was in crisis and government was trying to close it or merge it with another institution, a claim that was rubbished by Barclays Bank in a notice to its client. However, sources say the statement from the Bank of Ghana only sought to assure the public that the bank was well capitalized and wasn't in crisis. For some analysts, maybe the move by the central bank is to ensure that their regulatory fine doesn't end up causing a run on Barclays Bank Ghana.
Some news from the transport sector now. Uber has introduced a number of new safety protocols on its app as it works to assure customers of their safety and security as they use the taxi app as a transport option. This comes on the back of growing complaints of passengers about poor services and the fear for their safety using the Uber taxi. Now, speaking to Joy Business at a press conference, General Manager for Uber West Africa, Lola Kasim, assured customers that their safety continues to be a priority.
The press conference highlighted efforts by management of Uber to minimize risk for both passengers and drivers. Speaking to the media on the sidelines of the meeting, General Manager for West Africa at Uber, Lola Kasim, outlined a number of new measures the company is introducing to beef up security.
Any hour of the day, if you write in through the app to say that you've had an issue on an Uber trip, there is someone who will respond to you. And if it's a safety-related issue, these people will respond within minutes, right? And also, if it happens to be a very serious incident where, for example, police or law enforcement get involved, we have specialized teams, again, available 24/7 to liaise specifically with the police. So that's kind of an overview of some of our safety features. Maybe a couple of other ones I'll mention are real-time ID checks. So we require drivers on a periodic basis to validate their identity. We've also instituted driving hour limits to ensure that drivers aren't driving for so long that they get drowsy. So after every 12 hours, they need to take a 6-hour break. But again, for us, safety never stops, right? This is something we're always going to continue to be innovating on. You'll see new features coming out, etc. But for us, it's absolutely critical.
Lola Kasim further urged users of the Taxi Ride app to make it a point to report incidents to enable prompt investigation and response.
No form of transportation is completely safe, but we believe that the features we have, the support we have, are bringing kind of best-in-class safety to the ride-sharing sphere. So if you or someone you know has either an incident or even not an incident, just an unfortunate experience on an Uber trip, number one thing I can say is please report it to us immediately. The easiest way to do this is to go to help in the app and report it on that specific trip or look for the safety center. When we have these reports, we will investigate them immediately, and where law enforcement is involved, of course, we will provide the support that's necessary to help them in their investigations.
Meanwhile, Uber announced it has also partnered Old Mutual Insurance Company to provide additional insurance cover for both drivers and their passengers.
Well, in another development, transportation network companies that provide private ride-hailing in the country are said to be inadequate. At a media launch of ride-hailing service Yango, the global expansion director of Yandex Taxi, Mushek Sahakian, said the sector needs to be highly competitive so as to provide improved services. Now, President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Yawedu Jemfi, has called on government to implement policies that will put businesses on the global pedestal. He was speaking at the launch of the 8th AGI Ghana Industry and Quality Awards.
In order to grow bigger companies, there is a need to enhance competition in Ghana and beyond. According to the AGI President, Dr. Yawedu Jemfi, businesses can grow if government focuses on using made-in-Ghana goods to increase productivity.
None of these companies in Ghana right now has a turnover over $200 or $300 million a year. No company. But you have a lot of companies in Nigeria which has turnover over 500 million. South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia. This can only happen because when our government buy our own made Ghana products instead of importation. Our government is the biggest expenditure. They buy a lot of products. So instead of us importing, we rather should support our local companies, whatever we produce. It might be a little expensive, but for example, if you're buying 5,000 or something, and then all of a sudden we are buying 100,000, what will happen? The companies will be able to produce, because of the large quantity, the prices will be down.
He adds that the recent shutdown of some microfinance companies will not affect businesses under the AGI, since most of members do not directly obtain funds from microfinance institutions.
Of their closure is going to affect most industries. Mostly, yes, it will affect the traders, but not manufacturers.
Speaking at the recent MasterCard Index report, which indicated there are more women entrepreneurs in Ghana than men, CEO of the AGI, Setchuma Kwabwa, said despite the development, men rather own bigger businesses. He, however, noted that women still have the potential to grow.
Women do very well in these, and they can be very, very prudent in the management of things, and they grow the businesses. Of course, they have their own challenges as women because they have their household duties to perform, and But I think that if it is well managed, they can come up. But the reality, though, is that a lot of the big enterprises are owned by men, but women have potential to grow and become big as well. So there's a lot of potential for women-owned businesses and women-managed businesses. Sometimes I distinguish between the two because you could have MDs of companies who are women who don't own the business, but they do very well. And then you could also have enterprises that are actually owned by women and managed by women. So in all cases, they are women-related. And I think if you look at the history, a lot of the business that have been managed by women were also very well managed.
The AGI's 8th Industry and Quality Awards is on the theme Positioning Ghanaian Industries for Global Competitiveness. Alberta BC's report for Joy Business.
Thanks for watching. My name is Darryl Kwa. We've got more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Thanks for watching. We're back same time next week. Do enjoy your weekend.